Clock Enders Podcast, episode 11. You've got Everyone Hates Nick. We have Life of the Party.
Yeah.
As well as myself, Reginald Dino. Just finished watching Brentford versus Arsenal, which we previewed last night. If you haven't watched that episode, it should be the one right below this one. So if you want to hear our predictions for what we thought was going to happen, you can go listen to that. It was very Edson once again with a very interesting scoreline prediction, but I'm not going to tell you what it is. Go watch the episode below, and you'll hear what he said. But guys, I mean, I think we all got the lineup wrong. Actually, let me take a look. I think we did. We were making I know I was making some substitutions based on what's coming up in on Wednesday, but. You know, like Ian writes, you got to play the games that are in front of you. So, I mean, guys, as far as the lineup goes, do we think he got anything wrong? I mean, I know it kind of picks itself, and we'll talk about the substitutions as we go through the show. But I mean, based on what we saw in the first half, do you think he got the lineup correct, Mr. Arteta?
I don't know. I think I like my lineup better. I'll be honest with you. I like my lineup better. Yeah. When I woke up this morning, hungover, and just not ready for this game, I thought to myself, please don't let it be the exact same 11 again. And what was it? The exact same 11 again.
Yeah.
Why bring in players if you're not going to freshen up the lineup, especially after 2 losses? You know, like, and I don't question the manager very often, but you know, just so happens that the guy I wanted inserted into the attack was the one who made the difference for us and put us in the lead. You know, another really amazing display from Trossard came in and changed the complexion of the game. I thought Vieira was maybe a step too far. You know what I mean? I think that you know, he could have stayed with that lineup, or maybe I'm not sure exactly who could have made the difference outside of Vieira. I think that lineup was actually playing really well once Trossard was in there, give him a little bit more time.
Yeah. Nick, what do you think?
So, you know, I actually think I did call the lineup here because when we were having this discussion yesterday, I was saying that are we predicting what we want the lineup to be, or are we predicting what we know Arteta is going to start?
Yeah.
Know? And he did exactly that. Like Ben White, right there. I think the only one I might have missed on was I thought he might have given Jorginho a run, but I didn't realize that Partey was that healthy. I didn't think he could go.
Oh, he looked fantastic.
Clearly he is. Yeah, he looked really good. So I'm outside of that up front, I think where the smart play would have probably been to give Trossard a start right from jump, which is what you said yesterday, Edson, which is give that guy a run. And Martinelli, there's just something off about him right now. He's not getting in the right spots. That feed, though, from Saka was nuts. You know, put it right on your foot. So, I mean, Trossard finishing that is what I'd expect certain people to do when they get balls of similar stature. That didn't happen today either. So, you know, there's that part. But
well, I guess we should give the score if you don't know the score. It was a 1-1 tie at the Emirates between Thomas Frank's men and Mikel Arteta. I know Edson, you sent at halftime. You sent us a screenshot of where the attacks were coming from, and I know that's one of the places that you were looking at freshening up by just playing a natural right back in Tomiyasu.
Yeah, and you mentioned that obviously it takes away the overlapping runs of Ben White, which rarely even get that second half he was actually seeing the ball in those overlaps finally, and I think that's what really did start to open things up.
Right.
Because otherwise our play is extremely predictable when we're not using him. You know what I mean?
That's right.
Whenever Saka gets the ball, a second man comes to him immediately anyways, right? And if he knows, if they both know no one has to chase Ben White, or there's no reason to pay attention to Ben White, it becomes predictable. You know, Martinelli on the other side, same thing. When there aren't overlaps, it becomes predictable. You know, and today, you know, he also my brother sent me a text. It's decision making for Martinelli, and it's not just decision making, but it's when to release the ball specifically. And that's what I think. Okay. When there's one touch play going on, sometimes he takes a half a touch or he takes a second, and it slows the pace of play, and the attacks become a little less toothy. And when Trossard came in the game, I mean, to me, honestly, it looks like he's built for Arsenal. Okay, he looks like he's built for this team. He slots in perfectly. Scores now, what is it? They say since I think it's either the last 3 years or since he's been in the league, the most goals with his off foot. I think that's number 8 for him right now with his wrong foot.
Oh yeah, that's right.
That's a tough finish, bro. That's a tough.
Yeah, that's not an easy finish. You're absolutely right. I think it just bounced in front of him just as he was about to hit it too, and he still was able to. You can see he kind of hit it with the bottom of his foot.
Bottom of his foot.
Put it in too, right? So it was whipped in really quickly. It bounced. It was a tricky hop, and he was able to. You would expect that from a world-class player too, but still, I've seen them missed. But so
well, I mean, a lot of people would question whether or not he's world-class, right? And I think I think that's the kind of signing that we got for 24 million or whatever it was that we threw at Brighton. So, and I think that it's imperative that he starts next game.
So. I'm gonna ask a couple of questions. I'm gonna start with Nick. The Arsenal that we saw today, and also against Everton, and maybe even against City in the FA Cup, do these guys look tired? I'm gonna give you 3 choices. You two. Do they look tired? Are teams? So that's the first question. The second one: have teams figured out how to beat or play Arsenal? And the third one is: do you think Arsenal has a plan B if plan A is not working? Because plan A did not work, and it seemed like we played plan A for 90 minutes. So we'll start with Nick. Do you think they look tired?
I noticed that at a couple of points today, particularly and you're gonna kill me with this one, and just on purpose, I'm not gonna go to his name, but I felt like
the captain.
I felt like the captain looked a little bit tired today, man. It didn't seem like he had all those minutes in him, especially late too. Like he just wasn't getting to the ball. Like it just particularly down when he was on the right side. The plan B part was this is almost exactly how I thought this was going to play out today. They're going to put in the squad that they feel like needs to compete for 90 against City. And look, they limited substitutions. They wanted to see what this group can do. You can't now go in the City and say, all right, we're going to try something brand new. Like it's only got to be a minor tweak here and there, even though I think there should be not several, maybe a couple, like Tomiyasu and whatever. But at this point, I can't, it's hard to even pick one of those because there were, I mentioned the captain, but other guys looked tired out there. Other guys looked like they were coming back from injury. Partey did have a good game, but I noticed he didn't really start going until he got really warm, which was like near the 25-minute mark of the first half, and then late he made a couple of really positive defensive plays, like even like surrendering a corner, he had no choice, but like he looked pretty good out there. But from jump, especially even down the middle with our 2 center backs, as predicted. Tony and his name just like
Mbeumo.
I've lost. Yeah, that's the dude.
Ryan Mbeumo.
Those guys were flying down on the wing right into that center like it was. And I didn't see Gabriel or Saliba. They couldn't manage. They couldn't keep up. I mean, really, Brentford should have scored. They should have won probably this game 3-1 if you look at it. And 1 goal was taken away. I really think I wouldn't have called that. And then the one off the post, Tony's got to finish that. Right?
That was offside though.
Yeah. Was it? Did it end up offside?
It was.
No, it didn't, but it was. It wasn't Tony.
It wasn't called, though. It wasn't called, right?
It was the guy who crossed it over to Tony. He was offside.
Oh, he was offside. Okay.
Norgard.
Then he should have finished it.
Norgard was offside. And
Norgard was offside. Okay.
You saw in the top box when they were doing the replay, they're only checking the first one.
That's right.
And they let it run once through, and they didn't rewind it again. They let
That's
it
right.
run once through, and they didn't rewind it again. They didn't
So
even
they can
look.
keep the highlight, right?
Not
So
when
they
they
can
could have
keep
put
the
the lines
highlight.
on. The first one I understand.
Okay, fair.
Gabriel had a handful of his jersey. So essentially, Gabriel's arm is what kept him inside the jersey. Fine. But the second one, Norgard was 100% offside. You could see it from both angles that they showed. One was in front and one was behind.
To Reg's point, once again, I think that he's right about the center backs. They looked a step slower, especially it was almost they got shell shocked. The same bum rush that happened against Everton happened here in those first 20 against Brighton. Sorry, not Brighton. Sorry, Brentford.
Listen, what happened was they ran up on the second best English forward, and his name is Ivan Toney. Okay, should have gone to the World Cup and should have played.
And I was going to say this, but to your point, Edson,
that's it.
Yeah,
period.
To your point, Edson, to your point, you had to start those two because if they weren't there, what could have happened? Like you had to start them against these guys, you know. So I don't know. Like if I were to pick one of the three, I'm going to go with tired just because. But just because I think there's some tweaks that can be made. Maybe I'm not confident about a plan B, but clearly this is what we plan on running with.
I haven't seen a plan B.
So I'm going to have to say tired if I were to take one of the three of yours.
All right. Over to you, Edson. Same question.
All right. Rewind the questions for me. I didn't write them down.
Do they look tired? Have teams finally figured out how to play Arsenal?
One by one. Do they look tired? No. They look, let's call it, maybe one or two players look a little comfortable. And not even say comfortable in their position. They're trying weekly, you know what I mean? But it's the selection that's tired. It's not the players that are tired. There needs to be freshening up of the squad as the season goes on. We've passed the halfway mark. I said it before this past game, and I still think it. There needs to be just a little bit of an injection. And you saw what happened. As soon as he comes in the game, Trossard changes things.
Yeah.
And we also saw, and this will lead into one of your other questions. What's your next question again?
Have teams figured out how to play Arsenal?
Back to the little graphic that they showed during halftime. Where are the attacks going? It's because that's where we're being targeted. Okay, like it's coming down that side. Tomiyasu keeps things calm on that side. You know what I mean? He adds to the calm. He plays he intercepts balls. Like I feel like it's just tougher to get down that side of the field. That put a lot of pressure on Saliba in turn. You know what I mean? And he dealt with things as best he could. But you can see a lot of times when there are attacks coming from that side or when there's like hold up play, Tomiyasu's there to contribute, to win a header, to win an extra header, to be a good partner for the outlet, whatever the case is. Like Tomi's there, it's for some reason it's more secure on that side when Tomi's around. And I think there needs to be a little bit more of that because, like I said, Saliba and Ben White are getting targeted a little bit more. I think you said something about Gabriel not playing well earlier. Gabriel played well, but he wasn't called on to do very much. You know what I mean? That goal, that's coming off a set piece that, first of all, like I said, they should not have won. You know what I mean? He literally, Ivan Toney has his arms locked behind Saliba, okay? Like has Saliba, like, I don't know, like in a police lock or something crazy. You know what I mean? Like his arms are behind Saliba, locked. How is that? And then turns.
Like you're calling out the goal though. Let's go back to the play up. Let's go back to how these guys were getting freed up the middle and where was Gabriel in the moment. That was earlier on in the game. I'm not talking about the goal at all. I'm just saying earlier in the game.
Like I said, everything in that first half was coming down the left side. They weren't coming down Gabriel's side.
Yeah, because when we are attacking, we're defending in a 3. So that transition, if Zinchenko's in the other team's 18-yard box and that ball gets by him, we're still defending in a 3, and Gabriel will be on the left side.
Yeah.
So
Gabriel's one mistake wasn't actually even a mistake when he got turned.
Because the cross. Yeah, I guess the ball did come in from the left to Toney, who was on the right, right? Tony was on the right. Tony plays on the right. Yeah,
Well,
Tony plays on the right.
Listen, Tony plays on the right. Sometimes he plays on the left.
In the
Look how many
middle.
times he was
In the
matched
middle.
In that moment,
Look
he
how
was
many
on the right.
times he was
Well, I
matched
think
Saliba in duels. Look at how many times he came up against Saliba in duels. How many headers he won in front of Saliba with duels. Like he was matched.
Yeah.
Tony's a terror. He plays on whatever side. You know what I mean? He plays just.
I think the message or the instruction to Saliba was to mark this guy. I don't think they wanted Gabriel marking it.
Early on, it looked like Saliba was taking, or not Saliba, like Partey was taking a piece of him. Like he was kind of the first guy that was sort of dealing with him, and then he got, I guess, pushed into to attack a little bit more, and it ended up being a lot of Saliba.
We got to bring two sometimes for him because he's just so strong, right? And he can play with he can play. He's not just a big guy like I don't know who's just a big guy, Weghorst or whatever at United. He's a big guy that can play and he's strong, right? So 14 goals, I believe he has this season too, which is incredible haul for a guy that hasn't played.
You know, for him, it was also right place at the right time, man. Like it was
that's part of being striker, right,
that's
Eddie?
A striker, and that's what I was just. You beat me to it. You beat me to it. Right?
Well, I mean, we have to watch Eddie Nketiah for 90 minutes, which is probably an issue when he's not scoring braces. I guess it's an issue when he doesn't do much on the field, which you can look at that and say no service, but
better second half. But the problem is why do we not have options? Like we literally don't have options. You know what I mean? Like when, to be honest with you, I mean, I don't think that Martinelli can play a hold-up game as a striker.
No.
Otherwise,
that's not our style. That's not the style Arteta wants to play.
Yeah. I mean,
we don't need a hold-up guy.
I don't know. I would have tried. I don't think I would have taken Martinelli off first today, is what I'm saying.
Oh, you're taking off first.
Eddie.
And we got to try him. You know what I mean? We got to try something else there. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like maybe it's Cozy or Dewberry. I don't know, but like I feel like we 90 minutes, 96 minutes, game after game after game after game. Like, you know,
I keep trying to believe in him too, man.
I'm trying to
believe in him.
Oh, I'm trying. I'm trying.
I do believe in him. But it can't be him all the time, every game, nothing but.
Yeah, that's true as well. That's That's why yesterday I was saying, you know, Arteta's like get your not rushing back Gabriel Jesus, who gives us a different dynamic. I think if he plays up top today, I think we win just by what he brings, assists and you know, running down and you know the way you have to probably bring two against Gabriel Jesus because he's so tricky. But so if there's someone that Mikel Arteta wants back sooner rather than later, it would be Gabriel Jesus out of everybody that's injured. So they were saying first or second week of March he should be back. Again, he's going to take a couple of games to get back into the swing of things, but hopefully we're not, you know, we're not in a position where we haven't won a game in 3 or 4 weeks because it's 2 now. So tactically, and this is where I have an issue with what Arteta did today. Tactically, we didn't look like it doesn't look like anything changes. It looks like I don't want to say it, but it looks like Arsene Wenger. We were gonna play this way, break us down. If you can break us down, perfect. If you score 2 goals against us, doesn't matter. We're still gonna play the same way that got us to the point we are.
Yeah, and you know what I don't like as well? Like, you know, even early on in the season, things aren't happening exactly. Well, let's switch Saka and Martinelli's flanks for a little bit. And
why don't they do that?
Where is that?
Why don't they do that? Why don't they switch Martinelli and Saka switch sides every now and then?
That is some like.
Why haven't we done it? It makes no sense.
That's happening on maybe the training ground thing. It hasn't perfected.
But if you're playing in a game and Saka's getting clamped on one side or nothing's happening for him on switch sides.
Switch it. Exactly.
You don't do it. We don't do it. I don't know why. I don't. We don't. And you know why?
You know what? Teams don't have tape. You don't think they've been looking at 90 minutes of this for for the whole
Well,
season.
most if Saka
Adjustments,
and
man,
Martinelli,
in-game.
if Martinelli and Saka switch, if your wingers switch sides, nine times out of 10, the defenders don't switch. So if you're double teaming Saka on one side and Martinelli's single, someone only one guy's marking him,
Right.
you switch
And he's
Saka
been doing that for
one
like
guy.
45 minutes or something like that. Exactly. What's going to happen is that guy's going to get lost, especially when you switch the sides. Oh, I've been used to playing like this for 60 minutes. All of a sudden, now I have to go the other way. You know what I mean? I have to play the other way. I have to play all the way along the baseline or along the bottom line and watch out for crosses after I've been playing this one way for 60, 65 minutes. Of course, and against like a super talent that doesn't stop. It's like, oh, I was dealing with this soccer problem just fine. I kind of, I've been kind of managing it. Now I got to deal with Martinelli. And on the other side, the guy's got to be like, now I got to deal with Saka? Come on.
Well, one guy will be left-footed, one guy will be right-footed. You got to defend them differently.
Yes, you have to play them differently.
I don't know. That's something I was actually thinking about that during the game. Why they don't switch flanks?
Yeah.
I don't understand. I don't get it. But as far as where we pick up the balls, where our attacks start, how do we look going forward? It just seems that we defend well. We get out of our defensive positioning very well. From the goalie out to Partey coming through, out to the wing, and we're out. That looks great. But after we get past center, it just looks like all the ideas just poof, they're gone. And we slow it down. We pass it here, then we pass it there, then we pass it around there, and there's no really bite
until Trossard comes in the game.
Well, until Trossard comes in the game, I guess. But
I'm pretty sure. What do we have? We had like 8 minutes really on this that first half, okay? And then they, again, the early part of the second half, we're looking around like, what's going on here? And then the substitute comes on. I'm not saying.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's a great infusion of energy.
Because there was no fantastic. It wasn't that. It was the fact that there was Trossard, and he came into the game with a clear directive, and he was playing forward, and he knows how to turn the ball over in that third of the field, as well as make passes that matter. You know what I mean? Make passes that make chances.
What were you saying there?
No, well, I was saying, his clear directive was obviously situational at best, but I mean, this happens to Arsenal, 9 times out of 10, is that they will get that infusion of energy, and then set pieces and things like that just immediately catch up to us, man. And that was the breakdown today. One guy said, no, we can beat them on this. I don't know, man. I wasn't impressed. I don't even think they deserve the result that they got.
Oh, they deserve that.
Draw? Yeah, they deserve the draw.
Ivan Toney could have had 4 goals. If you break it all the way down, Toney could have had 4 goals. He hit a crossbar, the one that he passed beside the post, barely missed there. And then you could make an argument for Eddie in stoppage time handball when he shoulders at it.
Okay, so wait, are you misunderstanding? I think you misunderstand what I mean by deserve the result. I think that Arsenal escaping with a draw, is
you think Arsenal?
Yeah. No, I'm saying Arsenal escaping with a draw. They deserve that. They did not deserve 3 points. They barely deserved the point, man.
I say they deserve the draw. They scored. It wasn't a 0-0. They did score first, actually. So I think
they scored.
The draw isn't.
Sometimes you have to look at those games, though. When sure, they did score. They got and it was a good goal too. I mean, it was impressive. But like I was saying earlier, Toney should have had at least 2 in that first half. There's a couple of times that Arsenal was clearly beaten. They were getting beat up on the side. It almost seemed like Brentford was too quick for them to start, just like last game too. I mean, yes, they recovered a bit, and we maybe got lucky with a call or two, even though you guys will go back and say, well, it was offside. But where that, I think it was a foul that was end up being called where he walked in and would have probably had the goal on was it
on Gabriel?
Yeah, it was Gabriel. Yeah.
No.
Yeah. I mean, come on, luck. That's how we luckily escaped there with a draw. So No, I will say it again. They didn't deserve this result today. They didn't. They did not. They
I don't
deserved to
know.
lose. You know,
I don't know about
they
that.
did. They deserved to lose.
If it was a
And
0-0, I would say yeah, probably, but they scored and they were winning the game. So I don't know if they deserve to.
They outplayed us in the first half. It's 1-1 on the board. That's
1-1 on the board. It probably should have been 1-0 at the half, and they gave up a goal in the second half.
Could have been a first
realistically,
half.
it probably should have been 2-1.
Could have been a first half penalty when Saka was in the box and he gets walked through by Henry.
I think we're kind of begging for one there, though. You don't think? I think we're a little bit.
That's a foul. That's a foul.
That's a foul.
The only reason why he didn't get it is because he didn't go down.
Let's be careful not be too
actually offside. So
you
can't say that they deserve to win the game. That's a draw. You know.
Yeah, they definitely didn't deserve to win the game. What about the potential handball there from Eddie at the end?
Oh, you
saw the motion there, right?
You got pushed from behind. You can't call that.
He was going in.
No, it looks like he hit it first, and then after he sort of his shoulder went forward.
He was falling down because he got pushed. So if you're gonna call that, you have to call the foul first.
Right.
So,
right.
Anyways, that's certainly not a clear error. So it was nothing to be overturned. But I'm saying, if you're on the other side, an argument can be made that there's a shout for a penalty. And going back to what I was saying about Tony, you know, what a hell of a day he had. Like I said, crossbar.
He's a beast, man. Like
winning the foul that sets up the goal. He was definitely.
But this is why I also say too, man, just a fresher team. Just like again, I still think that Partey, even though he played really well, he's still clearly, working his way back up to full strength. When he's at full strength, they're unbelievable in that midfield, and it just makes Gabriel and Saliba that much more effective.
Nothing wrong with the way that Partey played today. If we're doing player ratings, which I guess we should probably get to now, you'll see what my Thomas Partey rating is. He was fantastic. He was everywhere today. He was in everything. You know what I mean? If he wasn't there,
I think he took a minute to get into the game. But yeah, sure. That's not my rating's not going to be terrible.
He's my player of the game.
Exactly. He was
fantastic.
My
man of the match.
He was fantastic. So let's not shed anything.
Nothing bad. Like no. I did say it earlier. I said that if defensively, he was nuts. Like he kept getting back to balls. He was really making up for some of the
game. You saw
deficiencies.
Him the box dictating play. He was fantastic. Say no more about these, sir.
But more like when I think of Partey, honestly, I really think how effective he is in the backfield, and that's what I was more looking at. And I thought that he got into the game, at least from a defensive standpoint, a lot later than he was offensively. That's
I disagree. I believe that it was a team job to deal with Tony, and it was being done, and Partey was doing his part from the very beginning, and turning and keeping things ticking, turning the ball over in midfield. I mean,
and some might argue that we got a little bit of help from the officials to make sure that it was stayed the way it did. And something I guess that has to happen. I'm happy it's happening, but
Partey progresses the play more than I think anybody in his position, like in terms of passing the ball forward and being direct. You know what I mean?
And again, that being said, as much as he's probably still got my highest rating from today, easily. But I mean, if that's the bar line, they've got to improve, man. They've got to make some improvements, and it's got to happen in a hurry because it will not be easy on Wednesday. So, anyways.
I'm actually quite excited for Wednesday. I think that what I saw in the second half, especially after Trossard came on, like I said, Vieira, I think, was a little step too far, and I would have stuck with Odegaard for a little longer, tired, whatever. I don't care. We
came on for Xhaka, though.
Sorry, Xhaka, buddy. Yeah.
Sorry, Xhaka. But Xhaka was in the play. You know what I mean? I don't know.
He didn't look the same either. I don't know, guys. Another guy who's played every game, every minute. I don't know, guys.
Doesn't want to.
He did not look. He looked off the pace today too. Didn't look like the normal Xhaka. Not even fouling. So, I mean, I don't know. But like you said, let's dive into the player ratings. This is probably going to be a longer one. So let's start that now. We'll start with you, Nick, since you're in the middle. We'll start with Ramsdale. Not much to do today.
Ramsdale.
No half marks. Full
All
numbers.
right, fine. No half marks.
No half marks.
Honestly, I thought Ramsdale was decent. I thought he was a little bit early. I think that was that where the goal happened, where he sort of dove a little bit early and might have gotten away with one, and he hit the dude. Yeah, I think that
That's on
might
the
have been the
goal?
play. Yeah, I
That's
think
on
that
the
was on the
goal.
goal. Yeah. Other than that, Ramsdale does what he does. I think he was mostly ready for when he was really called into action. So for me, Ramsdale still gets a solid 7. I mean, he's got to depend on the people in front of him. So, I'm still going to give him a 7. I thought he was.
Edson?
He gets a 6 for me. I thought that the his distribution was a little bit loose. He wasn't called on to do very much in terms of like he had a couple shots blocked. But yeah, as far as his distribution,
Positioning though.
But as far as the distribution goes, like I said, pretty rudimentary. He didn't have any Lloris moments, you know what I mean? Nothing like that. And he was busy back there in terms of being involved in play, in terms of the buildup from the back. But
distribution, doesn't that go with how many times you're involved? Like, come on, man! I didn't think
he
that
was
terrible.
involved in the buildup.
Yeah, and he was. That's why I would go with 7.
Passed the ball out or sometimes cleared the ball out from the back.
Yeah,
I think that it gave our front line the best opportunity to control play or to get play under control and get things moving forward. That's what I mean. I don't think he was super accurate. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Just giving you my quick how I recall it.
That was fair. No, that's fair.
Okay, so I gave him a 7 as well. Again, not much to do. Didn't do it much wrong. I mean, that goal that was scored should have been cleared twice by our defenders, but it wasn't. So
it was offside.
So it was offside. It was offside
maybe
as well.
Throw your hand up there a little bit, Aaron. You know what I mean?
They still looked at VAR. Don't get me started. Incompetent. Not VAR. VAR is great technology. It's the people that are watching and running it. Incompetence at its finest. You have a referee that doesn't. I'm not going to start. I give him a 7.
So we're
gonna
rate the referee, right? We're gonna rate the referee too.
Well, we can if we want, but you have a referee that can't ref anymore because he makes so many mistakes, and he's the guy that's watching VAR. I don't understand how you do this, but anyways, we'll move to the back line.
I mean, look, it's not Dean, yo. Like, it's not Dean.
Yeah, but it's another referee.
They just fast forwarded right through the actual outside. They just fast forwarded right through that. Like, double check. All right, we got it.
That's right, and it's like you have to look. Anyways, it's over. Can't change it. Whatever.
Yeah, I can't wait to see all the website postings with the actual line drawn now with the offside, the clear offside.
You saw the
going back to 2022, like how they used to do Arsenal there, man. They don't give us the lines. They don't do that.
They don't give the lines to Arsenal. Trust me. If that was City or United, you'd have a protractor out. You'd have all of it out. Calculus.
Those guys are working with 20 screens. All right. No, we got to get City right.
They draw the line with their pen. Oh, he's on against Arsenal. But anyways, Gabriel, Edson, Gabriel.
He was great. I'd say, I mean, I got to go off of what I'm going to say for Partey. Gabriel was an 8. Partey, Gabriel was an 8. To me, our second, not our second best player, our third best player, but he played great today.
Okay. That's a high rating. Nick?
That's what I'm saying, yo. It's 8? What? All right, you know what? I think I'm going to go back to what Reg was thinking and what I think I saw, which was he looked tired. Maybe you're right. Maybe he does need a break. And I'm going to go 6. I think
he does need a break. He does
Like,
need a
I'm
break.
sorry, he needs a break, man. And there was a couple times he was behind on things, but I mean, he didn't play an over. I thought there were guys worse out there, but Gabriel, you know what? Oh, it pains me to say this. Maybe a 7, max, because I thought he was out of the two defenders. I thought that he was a bit more superior than Saliba on this day.
I'm giving him a 7 as well, and that's a stretch 7 because I mean, again, if Tony was on, I feel if Thomas Frank would focus Tony onto Gabriel, they would have probably got more joy out of that. I think Saliba was a little overwhelmed. I don't think he's played against a guy that's that physical, and that's why. I don't think he struggled Saliba at all, but there might have been some times where he might have got caught under the ball a little bit and had to foul. But that's the life of the defender. You know what I mean? So
I'll change my 8 to a 7. You've convinced me. I'll change my 8 to a 7. Reason being, because when we get to Saliba, and I guess we can just go to Saliba right now.
Yeah, of course.
I'm going to give Saliba the same rating, not because he played as well, I don't think, but because he came through the challenge well. You know what I mean? That's like this is like two really highly skilled MMA fighters. This is Volkanovski and Max Holloway part 1. You know what I mean? This is maybe Volk and Makachev tonight. Who knows? But like this is two really strong guys and great at their position. Great young players. Or when Tony's not super young, but great players at their position. And and they were duking it out, you know what I mean? And it was fun to watch. That was some of the most fun to watch on the field, watching those two guys go at it. Every time the ball would go up in the air, or like I said, when he had two hands wrapped around him and he's just doing savvy things out there, and making the kid look like a kid a little bit at times, but then the kid gets the better of him at times too and holds his own. And the one goal came off of a set piece. He got sucked away on it a little bit, you know what I mean? But there was a little bit of an imbalance. Seemed like he just didn't quite get back into position. So maybe he's at fault there. You saw that Gabriel had to kind of play in a position because he kind of got sucked out of position because Saliba was sucked away, I guess, on the situation. But who knows who he was even marking on the first go around? He didn't exactly get back into position, but he fought. You know what I mean? And Brentford are no ho, as I like to say. You know what I mean? Like Brentford come to party, and they played well today, and they had their chances to play well in the way that they play, and they had their chances.
So what are we?
I agree with everything you said, Edson. The only thing I would add to that is that I think the more experience Saliba's getting in these type of situations, I think the better he will become overall. I thought he was up against it today with two wingers that are nuts, so yeah, I would still like I was saying, I thought Gabriel was slightly better. And that's, I think, is to his experience. And I actually think Arteta just didn't plan this out properly. I think that maybe against Everton, that's where we would have rested those guys and had them fresh, because I think a little bit fresher today and they would have been far more effective. I'm going to go with a 6 for Saliba, but I don't think that 6 is all on him. I actually put it a bit more on the coach's management of this side. So it is
Everton was a week ago.
Yeah.
So I'm not really trying to hear tired. You know what I mean?
What did you give him, Edson?
7 and 7. 7 and a 7 for different reasons.
Okay. Well, I gave Saliba an 8. I think he didn't. I think he came out of that. Better. I think he came out of that. He'll learn from that. If Tony was playing the first game that they played them at their stadium, I think coming into this game he would know what to expect, and you probably wouldn't have heard a lot from Ivan Toney.
Yeah, I'd say next time he's getting pocketed.
Yeah. Next game, I think he's going to He's going to get pocketed. So I don't think he really did anything wrong. He stood up for me. He stood up to him. He won some. He lost some. I've seen Ivan Toney bully world class defenders. If we're not calling Saliba world class, so what would he do to Thiago Silva, where everyone drools over? He would crush him. So I'm giving him an 8 for that performance today. Time is 40 minutes. Okay, Ben White. We'll start with that. We'll start with Nick. Or you know what? I'll start.
Ben White.
I'll start. I'm giving him a 6. I don't think he did anything really wrong as far as defending and getting forward as well. He was. I think he was the thing that did release Saka a little bit, because like we talked about in previous shows and even at the beginning of this one, his overlapping does release Saka. His overlapping does cause one-on-ones for Saka, which I'm putting my money on Saka every single time. When Saka gets double teamed, it gets a little harder for him. Tomiyasu is a guy that stays back a little bit to defend, doesn't get forward that much, and Saka's left 2-on-1 most times. But when Ben White plays, I think it frees Saka. So I'm giving him a 6. Don't think he did anything too egregious out there.
I'll add to that and say that in the second half, when Saka started to use him there a little bit more on those overlaps, he was getting good crosses in. You know, he was getting it seemed like some decent crosses in. But I'm giving him a 6 for not being Tomiyasu. Nick?
All right.
I thought that Ben White today was good offensively, going over the top. I think the problem with him today was like guys like what's his name? Norgard? Is it Norgard?
Yeah.
And obviously the other forward there. I thought he wasn't doing much at the back and was like I wouldn't call him a statue, but he wasn't making much of a difference to me. He didn't make many mistakes that were overly noticeable, but I thought he was pretty effective up front. That's why I would turn around and give him. You see, you don't want me to give you 0.5, because I think he's really in between a 6 and a 7 for me today. But
pick one.
Since I'm going to go with that, I'm going to go because of how effective I thought he was with Saka, and I love that. I love the two of them. I'm starting to really like the two of them down the side. I'll go with 7.
Zinchenko. Edson.
Well, I don't know why we're starting on the midfielders now. Is that it? We're starting with the
left back. He's a left back.
Yeah, I know, but is he playing?
I know.
Saw a lot of midfield.
Was he really playing left back today? I don't know, man.
That's where he is on the. That's where he is on the line.
No, that's where he's listed. But was he playing there today? That's his right, yo. This guy was midfield general guy. He's trying to send a message.
That being said, he played it well. He played it fairly well. He kept things ticking. He played well defensively as well. He had a couple of like underrated defensive plays, I thought. Yeah. So he kept it tight. We're gonna go standards. We're gonna go 6 because he's not playing left back. How about that? I want a little more left back from him. I want a little more left back.
Nick?
Yeah, like I would give him I want to give him a 7 in the midfield. And I want to give him
2 ratings.
Yeah, I want to give him a 7 in the midfield, and I kind of want to give him a 5 at the back, man. Oh no, sorry, a 6 at the back, because you know, for as much as Tony was doing stuff on his side, you know, the other couple of midfielders there, one's name starts with a J, Janlet, if I can remember. See, I'm working off my iPad today, so I'm just going off of memory. And is it Roserlev or something like that? Dude, they were kind of non-existent. They didn't make much of a difference to me. I think it was all happening on the other side, you know, with Norgard and Bueno. Those guys were just nuts. So yeah, I thought he was really good midfield at the back. You know, not too many mistakes. So yeah, maybe I'm gonna go 7 in the midfield, 6 at left back.
Okay.
2 ratings for Zinchenko today, man.
Okay, so we'll move to the midfield proper now. We'll start with Granit Xhaka.
Granit Xhaka,
Edson.
I'm Uh, that's a 6. I mean, it's a 6. It's just kind of a standard 6. I don't know. I mean, not standard 6 for him. He's been much better than a 6 this season
That's right.
so far. So, but yeah, he kind of just blended into the background.
Yeah.
He was, not to say he was pretty hard to notice, I guess, as hard as he can be today. And this is the kind of game that you imagine that he would, he would be up for, thrive in, maybe be a little bit more of a physical presence. We didn't see much of that, and no magic going forward. I think he had one attempt that was blocked. It was no sort of attempts at kind of like through balls, final balls, anything like that. Really, yeah, he was just there. So a 6 for Xhaka.
6. Where is Xhaka? 6. Nick?
5, and not for the reasons that Edson mentioned. I think you're right. He should have had a better game today because of the way Partey he played. So I usually expect when Partey's playing really, really well, Xhaka usually is able to feed off of that. So what was the problem today? I don't know. Like, I've never seen him so
every game, every minute.
Yeah,
that's it. And that's it. There it is. It's like these guys. Like, yeah, you said a week off. And you're not buying it. I mean, he is the
World
senior
Cup.
on the squad, is he not? He's the senior guy.
And every game, every minute in the World Cup as well.
Yeah, and I mean, let's face it, a physical player like that, like who doesn't have the stature of a Gabriel at the back, he needs some time. Like what are we getting these guys that can play his position for? Well, not play it the way he does, but at least can back him up. I think you have to start giving him some time back there. Like we need his physicality, and I remember I used to call him red card walking because I thought he was trying to do too much. But in a game like this, where you're getting that type of an effort from your midfield pairing in Partey, then I expected more out of him. That's why I'm only going with a 5.
Okay, I gave him a 5 as well. Just that it's not the regular Granit Xhaka performance that we're used to. Just like I don't think I gave my number for Zinchenko. I gave him a 6 as well for the same reasons, that that's not the Zinchenko that I remember from, when he got here and started playing and actually changed the way Arsenal played. So not saying that they're bad players anymore. I'm just saying that for this particular game, they both looked a little bit off, and that's why the rating is how they are. So we'll go to his partner. I'll start it off. Thomas Partey. I'm giving him a 9. He was the one keeping it ticking, as we like to say. For me, the way I watched it, I know Nick, you said he wasn't very good defensively, or maybe not. He didn't say he wasn't very good.
No, I didn't say. I just said he worked his way into the game, which was I thought he was
the best player on the field. So I'm giving him a 9.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'll go with your 9. I mean, I won't give him a 9. I'll give him an 8. I mean, maybe he was a 9 compared to everybody else, but a 9 performance would be a goal. A 9 performance would be an assist. A 9 performance, you know what I mean? Something like that. A game-saving tackle. It would require more than what I saw today. But an 8 and best player on the pitch, I would say not by a mile. Somebody else in the team got an 8 from me as well, but we'll get to that in a minute.
Okay. Nick?
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I was going to say 7, but, you guys have convinced me that, that's going to happen. Sometimes you take a minute to warm into something. And I think defensively, he really, really showed up for me more. You guys say offensively he was great, but defensively, when he worked his way into the game, I started seeing him just making such necessary plays, man. Like even the ones where you're giving up corners, he's rushing back Yeah, like he's back there. He's at both ends of the field. Yeah, that's why I would say 8. I was going to say 7, but 8 seems about right. Probably even man of the match, but let's go.
Put it this way. I don't know I don't remember the names of their midfielders. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. We own that bit. We own that bit, especially in the second half there when we were putting pressure on. Oh yeah, ball's cleared. Oh, Party turn, go again. You know what I mean? And where does he end up at the end of the play? On the edge of the box. You know what I mean?
Edge of the box, and the dude's on the outline, the foul line at the back, man. I'm like, what are you doing back there? He's everywhere, man. That's all. It's nice to see that he's feeling better.
He didn't put a foot wrong. Thomas Partey was excellent, but wasn't decisive is what I mean. A goal.
But I think that also has to do with his injury. No, I think he's still working his way back. I was happy he got 90. Remember, I was saying yesterday that I was like, you know what? Don't kill this guy. Like, even if you got to give him 60 minutes, but the way he played, it's almost like, yeah, he's just about back. And watch, I give it another game or two, and it's normal Partey again, as long as he stays healthy.
Okay, so we've done we've done the midfield, we've done the defenders, we've done the goalie. We're now at the attack. We've got about 7 minutes left.
Yeah, 2.
Let's fly through this. So we have Saka. We'll start off with Saka. Go ahead, Edson.
I'll give him a 7. Beautiful assist. Really started to get loose there in that second half, and that's on his right foot. So his part in the goal was fantastic. So that's a high. I'm giving him a high 7. Giving him a high 7. Because he couldn't manage to get loose in the first half there. Took a couple of really hard fouls as well. I was wishing that maybe he might have gotten some rest in this game somehow going into City. Him getting some rest is a different story, I think, because he's taken so many little knocks and niggles. And you want him as dent free as possible for Manchester City, and he had to play a full 90 today and put in a shift, and got bumped and bruised up, but a good performance from him. 7 for the assist.
I think he makes Ben White look better. I think that, again, just because of its right foot, I give him an 8. And once again, Saka was, between him and Partey, were the best players on the pitch. So I'm going to go with 8.
Okay, I gave him a 7 as well. Better performance than the last game and even City. So I gave him a 7. Martinelli, the first substitution. Nick, we'll start with Nick.
Martinelli, I don't know, man. Maybe he's feeling a little bit of the pressure of footsteps behind him, but something does seem a little bit off about him. I mean, he's got the contract in place now. It's like you sign the contract, and now this is where the work starts, So, what he did to get that contract before days like today was why we thought this guy is an absolute lock in the 11. I have to go with a 6. I'm sorry, I have to go with a 6, because I still believe that maybe partially Arteta's got to be more firm, or even try something new with him. Because what's happening right now is, he's about this close to losing that spot, in the starting 11 to the replacement. So 6.
So you're giving him a 6, okay? Edson. And I forgot Odegaard in the midfield, but we'll do him next.
Okay. I guess I gotta go with a 6, but I don't think it's entirely his fault. I think there are circumstances as well. He's not making the best. He doesn't release the ball at the best time. He's got his own flaws or whatever, but I don't feel like he's getting that much help. Again, with the overlapping runs, with guys trying to open up space for him on that side. I think that Zinchenko's playing a lot of midfield, and that he's working super hard. Xhaka wasn't really, too involved in making incisive plays, dinking him in over the top or anything like that. especially early on, actually in the first half, I think Martinelli had a pretty good first half. He was coming deep to receive the ball at times to get play going in the other direction. He got central a couple of times as well to try and create a couple of chances early on. So I can't fault him the most. I would have liked to have seen him maybe get a few minutes up top, you know what I mean? And maybe Nketiah having been the first substitute, I don't think he was the worst one out there. So I'm giving him a sympathetic 6, we'll call it.
Yeah. Well, I think you're right too. With Xhaka, really is responsible for him and Zinchenko. Really are sort of responsible for trying to help Gabriel get open. But again, did you notice that? I don't think he was really running into the spots he should really well. That there might have been opportunities for Xhaka to give him some service, but maybe he was a bit of a step behind or not in the right spot. But again, like maybe you just got to try something new with this kid.
It's just he's marked, right? He's marked. And so, and that going back to the whole switching side things, you know what I mean? Like, maybe that goes to the manager's rating here, and we'll get to that obviously. But, I think he's not helping Martinelli the way that he could be helping Martinelli. And same thing with Saka. I think that Saka is obviously he's effective wherever you put him. And a little change of scenery for him sometimes, really helps to loosen things up. And I'm surprised that he hasn't gone back to trying that with those two. So anyways, sympathetic 6. We already, we did Martinelli. Move on.
Yeah. So okay. So the last we have 5 more to.
Odegaard.
Sorry, Reg. What do you give Martinelli?
I gave him a 6 as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
I gave him a 6 as well. So we'll move to Nketiah. We'll fly through the other 5 that we have here. So we have Nketiah. There's not really much. I gave him a 5.
That's a 5.
It didn't do much. Maybe you can, like I said earlier, maybe you can say he didn't get any service.
But, not getting any service, but when he did get some opportunities, I didn't think he was good on the ball. I thought there's a couple times he could have been better on the ball after he received it. Like his touch was not great. That's why I'm going to say 4.
Yeah, so that's the lowest rating so far. He beat Xhaka by 1. So we'll move to we've got to go to Odegaard actually. So let's go to Odegaard. I gave him a 6. Just because not as influential. I mean, he did make the pass to Saka to set up the goal, but I mean, I mean, that's really the only pass that I could remember him making. That was like one of the passes of the game, right? So I gave him a 6 for that performance today. Edson, you can go. You can start, Edson.
Yeah, I can't give Saka a 7 and not give him a 6. I mean, that's sort of where we're at. I think his performance came in just below Saka's. It was a captain 6 a couple of times. You could see he sort of turned up the intensity in the press and got the crowd into it. Did some subtle things like that. So I'll say it was a captain 6. It was a solid performance. I feel like he shouldn't have been substituted. Me personally, I would have kept him on. I think he could have been instrumental in. It seemed to me like, again, he was the pass before Saka to set up the goal. Seemed like things were opening up in the game. You know what I mean? Like it seemed like he was starting to get a little bit of joy. So again, that'll go to my Saka or my Arteta rating for today. We'll move on from there. But yeah, we'll give him a 6, but a captain 6.
So I don't think Odegaard was substituted. I thought he played the whole game.
Who?
I thought it was Xhaka. Sorry. Oh, that's it. I said it again. So I don't think that Odegaard was substituted. I thought he played the entire game. I thought it was Xhaka was substituted. Was it not? Can somebody give me I need a stat guy.
Yeah, Xhaka was substituted for Vieira, and then Martinelli Trossard was for Martinelli. Did someone else come in? I can't remember.
Substitute? I don't think so.
No, maybe I'm wrong. Yeah, no, sorry, I'm wrong.
Yeah,
so he did.
I thought when I saw Vieira, I thought he came in for Odegaard, but then they said he came on for
No, and that's where I was like,
okay.
I thought the captain was a little bit tired late in the game. It showed a couple of times, but a captain 6 is about the right rating. It's not it almost felt like an Ozil 6 is what I was really, but I think that was more late in the second half that I was like, he needs to be better, at this point, and he needs to offer something more. So I think 6 is fair.
Ozil can't spell the word press. Okay.
He can't play this style.
But that was late. I thought Odegaard late wasn't as effective on the press. So anyways, continue.
So we'll go to the substitutes now. We won't really talk about Vieira. I mean, I don't think he did anything enough to get anything over a 5 from anybody, but we have to hit.
I'm giving him a 4 for that final set piece.
Oh, that was terrible.
4. And the fact is,
was that him?
Yeah,
was that his shot? Oh, yeah.
Cross.
And he came in there and he kind of shagged up the flow.
That as a shot.
He kind of shagged up the flow of Trossard on that side there. Because when Trossard was there and Xhaka was there, Xhaka seemed to know how to play with him, give him enough space to operate. I think Vieira kind of crowded him a little bit and brought, just more attention, more traffic to the area, and didn't allow him to work. So I'm giving that and the set piece, the ball on the set piece, the final one. I'll give him a 4, but he didn't have too much time to prove himself. That's why
I'm saying you can't give him anything over a 5, right? So I mean, if I wouldn't even count the rating, but so let's go to the impact sub in Trossard.
I mean,
we'll start with you, Edson.
That's an 8. That's a as good as you want to be in terms of a substitute. But again, I felt like when Vieira came on, he was kind of muted a little bit, and his effect over the game was, it kind of waned a little bit. I expected him to come on even stronger, but I mean, I have him right up there with Partey, in terms of rating for performance and effect on the game, obviously with the goal, and again, amazingly taken for a naturally right-footed player. That's a hell of a finish. So what a bargain. Thank you, Brighton, and thank you, Belgium.
Nick?
That's a super sub, man. He just brings energy. He reminds me of the type of energy. Remember when Zinchenko and he started his first couple games at Arsenal? This is how this guy is coming in, with the same sort of feel and this excitement, I guess, he can bring on the pitch right away. Like everyone has to sort of pay attention because he's so quick, and the energy is infectious, man. So
it's not just quick.
For me, it's an 8.
It's skill. It's skill. The man has techers. You see him. He's out there. You know what I mean? Like he's turning man's inside out on the ball.
He's an absolute steal. Like, dude, I actually have that dude in my fantasy. And everyone's like, "Who's this guy, Trossard?" And then everyone started to take notice of him with Brighton. I'm like, "This guy comes to Arsenal now? Like, wow, we're in for something, man." And again, he's a steal. That's how I look at it. Absolute steal. So
start at City. Must start at City.
It's Arteta though. Let's see what happens. Yeah.
I'm interested to see how we play it, but I expect maybe that Arteta will spring a surprise selection. And Tomiyasu and Trossard to me wouldn't be surprise selections. So I have a feeling that he might make a surprise selection in that maybe he selects, Martinelli, Saka, and Trossard, and maybe I don't know, false nines it, or has Trossard up front, or like I said, we're absorbing the Man City's play and allow them to play a little bit and try and counter. I don't know, but I expect some kind of surprise selection to be in there somehow, some way, somewhere. And I mean, maybe it's a freshening up for Xhaka. Maybe, maybe he was so stale today that you put Jorginho in there with Partey. That would be something interesting because Jorginho definitely knows how to get involved in the play and progress the ball. So,
well, I thought he would. That was my change today. I thought he would start.
Well,
I
higher
thought he
up
should have started.
Also, you know what I mean. He wins the ball well higher up the field. So, yeah, that would be an interesting combination. Also, I expect something different. Is what I'm saying after these three performances.
Okay. So we'll get into the Man City, what we think for Man City in our next show, which is going to be on Tuesday night, I believe. I'll give my rating for Trossard. He gets an 8 across the board, it looks like. So just the impact he made off the bench. And again, it is a skill to be in the right place at the right time. We saw that with Tony. We saw that with Trossard. It's easy for him to stand around and, not be in the game because he just came on, but to be the back post wide open, sneaking in behind to be there, that's a skill as well. So I'll give him an 8. As far as the outfield players go, it looks like the highest rating that we gave was for Thomas Partey, so I guess he's the man of the match. Followed by Trossard, who was 1 point off of that.
Apologies to Trossard, yeah.
The lowest rating that we gave was for Eddie Nketiah, and followed by Granit Xhaka. So we still have to do the manager. This will be the last guy. We're up against the time right now, so let's give the manager a rating. We won't give a rating for the referee. I say 2. You guys agree? So he gets a 6 total. But what do we think about Arteta? Nick, we'll start with Nick this time.
I think I said it earlier. I don't know if he's not looking at these scripts properly or not writing them well, but I think he's got to really, take the pulse, see where these guys are at, make the adult decisions. You said it last pod, Reg, where, sometimes the adult in the room has to speak up, and maybe in terms of his selections, he has to start considering some of these things. Don't let these guys burn themselves out.
Yeah.
And because of that today, although tactically, I think he had the right ideas. That's why I can only go as high as a 6.
6, okay. Edson?
Yeah, things need to freshen up. We're not trying some of the things that we would normally do, like switching the flanks between Martinelli and Saka. I don't like the fact that we've had some stale performances and nobody's managed to move their way into the rotation. That's why you get a larger squad, so you can rotate and keep fresh. What else today? Obviously, again, just talked about Tomiyasu. I talked about Trossard starting. That's a 5 performance from the manager for me.
I agree. That's what I gave him as well, just for pretty much all the reasons that you made. Then the big one is, when things aren't working, try something else. And it didn't seem like, from what I saw, maybe it could be different, but it didn't seem like he was trying. There was no plan B. There was nothing else. There was no, like you said, switching of the flanks. Maybe put Xhaka a little bit further back and move Partey a little bit forward since he was balling. Maybe getting Trossard on at halftime, stuff like that. So I gave him a 5 as well. So that gives him a total of 16 for our ratings. So, guys.
And for the whole the being obsessed with Zinchenko kind of tucking into the midfield, and for not calling back Balogun. Go on.
Then you're gonna be able to say that now for the next.
We might have to give him a 4 this week. We might have to give him a 4 this week on second consideration. Now that
not permanently selling Pepe and keeping Cedric for so long. Yeah. Okay. So. All right. So you're giving him a 4 now?
I think upon further review, VAR says it's a 4 actually. So
okay.
There you go.
All right.
Wow.
All right. So guys, that's our recap, player ratings, tactic ratings, game review of Brentford versus Arsenal today, which ended 1-1. We're gonna do a show Tuesday or Monday or Tuesday for the preview of the biggest game of Arsenal's season so far, which would be the game against Manchester City, which we hope has a different outcome and a different look, it sounds like. So, guys, if you haven't subscribed to us on YouTube, subscribe, hit that button.
I know you're about to say that, but I just wanted to throw one more thing in there because you guys agreed amongst yourselves that your man of the match is absolutely Thomas Partey.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to say it was Saka. Sorry. That's just my opinion.
Well, I'm just basing it on what the ratings that we gave. The man of the match.
Still, man of the match based on that. But I think, in my own personal opinion, I don't like to throw Saka without a little shout out there because I was really still impressed with him today. But anyways, you can continue to close the show. My apologies.
Nick's man of the match was Saka. Mine was Partey. I don't know, Edson. What do you think? Your man of the match.
Yeah, I know. Partey he ran that midfield, so that's my man of the match. Or well, I mean, if we're talking overall, Ivan Toney was out there bullying, and he without him.
Not overall.
I'm saying without him, they had nothing. He was amazing, and you got to give it up. You got to give it up to that guy.
Yeah. Right. So, like I was saying, if you haven't subscribed to us on YouTube, subscribe on YouTube. All our social media stuff is scrolling at the bottom. We're on Twitter, we're on TikTok, we're on Instagram. We'll have follow us there. We'll do some polls, get involved, follow, all that stuff. So, guys, we'll see you
in a couple days.
We'll be back. Exactly. We'll be back in a couple of days. We'll see you for the preview of the Man City game. So, thanks for watching, and we'll catch you then.